Late contact is the #1 mistake I see when recreational players send in videos for analysis and we work with them in live clinics. Now, a lot of students, they know what the stroke should look like, they know how to use the body, but the problem is when they contact the ball late, they're unable to uncoil the hips and the core and able to extend, so the stroke cannot come out. But also when you play the ball late, it can lead to injury, so you've got to be very careful of that. So this video is about firstly defining what your contact point should be, but most importantly, how to go about fixing late contact. So first thing, you want to understand where should your contact be on the forehand side. So ideally it should be in line with the toe closest to the net or slightly ahead of that, slightly in front. Now you don't want to be too far in front because you'll lose balance, but also you can lose what we call minimal potential, the spring effect of your racket. So that's the first thing, all right? I always like to say you want to be able to see the back of your strings, or you can see the ball through the back of the strings. That gives you a good idea of how far in front. Now, as far as spacing to the ball, this is another big common problem, which I'll cover in another video, but generally speaking, if you take your thumb and your pinky, place your thumb into your lat, your pinky into your tricep, you kind of want to have that spacing away from your body. Now, some players will have an extended arm, some players have a slightly bent arm. You just don't want to be too cramped and too close like this. Now, as far as height goes, ideally you want to contact the ball above your knees and below your chest, kind of in between. Most players are like the ball around about hip height. Is slightly dependent on grip structure, but ideally you want to be around about hip height. It's sort of in line with the front toe, maybe slightly in front where you see the back of the strings and you got the spacing. So that's kind of your optimal contact point. So it's important to know that when you're working on this. How do you determine where your contact point is? So the first thing I want to do is take you through some drills. We're just going to work on finding the contact point out in front. Now for some players, this drill coming up, set of drills, is all they need. All right, so now with a practice partner, you want to stay nice and close around about the service line because you're going to start right here at contact, all right? So you don't want to do this from too far back because you're literally going to start from here. We've taken away the preparation phase and we're starting at contact. We're working on extension and a nice high finish. So I'm going to find my spacing over here. So I've got my thumb and my pinky. Okay, I can see the back of my strings. It's kind of in line with the front toe. Got my left arm over. Now George is going to toss the ball to me. I'm just going to meet the ball in front. I'm trying to experience what it's like to contact the ball in front, trying to see the ball through the back of the strings if that's possible. And you want to do this over and over. So you want to experience where the contact point should be, all right? Now you will notice as I do this, even though I'm starting here, without realizing it, the racket does go back a little bit because that's part of your unit turn, right? So that's totally fine. I actually encourage that. All right, so now you've experienced that. Then you can go a little further back. So I'm going to turn a little bit more, but I'm still thinking of starting a concept. But this starts to happen more naturally, part of a unit turn. So I'm starting right here. Nice light grip pressure. I'm trying to see the contact in front. You can do that over and over. And then what you can do is your practice partner can move the ball around a little bit. So you want to try and maintain the spacing, but you got to find the ball like this. I always say it's almost like a strike zone in baseball where you'll see it on the screen, but you want to imagine you have to position yourself so you keep that rack in this position. So George, you're going to toss the ball and move me around a little bit, and I have to now try to find it. So it also helps the spacing a little bit. Come back over here. So be very careful because you're not taking too big a swing. You're not looking for power, you're looking for good contact. All right, and then from there, you could either do an easy rally with your practice partner, or you could even feed the ball where you try to make it a fuller swing, but you're trying to meet that ball nicely out in front. Now, very often we then have to look at the ready position and the timing of the preparation. Because often what happens, there are two things we see. Players don't have a good ready position, so they have to make all these extra adjustments, okay? That takes time. Often results in a big take back, which also contributed to being late. The other thing is making sure that we connect the hands and feet. Because what happens is, and this comes from Ian Meyer, movement specialist, we tend to only pick up the moving object, which is the ball, when it crosses the fixed object, which is the net. And that's when people begin to react. And the ball's covered half the distance, and most people haven't even made a first move. If they have, they may have just moved the foot, but they haven't prepared the upper body. So it's really critical is that as soon as you recognize if the ball is going to your forehand or your backhand, in this case the forehand, not only do you take a step in that direction, whether you step out or whether you cross over, it's dependent on the ball, right? Make sure your hands and feet work together. The goal is that you want to get into your fully turned position here in time so that when the ball goes to hit the ground on the bounce, you're ready to step down and your racket's ready to fall, all right? So I'll repeat that. You want to make sure that you've completed your turn so that you're ready to let the racket fall, the swing fall. You're ready to get this foot to step down when the ball's hitting the ground. So you almost want to mimic that, okay? So one way I like to work on this with players is just starting with the self feed. So you start from your ready position. Always have a good ready position where your elbows are out in front like this, racket tip is up. There's a slight bend, you'll see it from the back, see this gap here. You create this imaginary basketball hoop because this arm position here on your forehand should be very similar to the arm position at the completion of your unit turn. You want to get to this position right here. Okay. Now, what helps a lot of players is to think about the timing and sequencing of this. Now, of course, you see differences, but if you have time, you're in position, and you work on it, this is a good way to think of it. You want to think that your body is mimicking the ball. So when the ball falls, comes down to the bounce, your body should be going down to the bounce. So the ball hits the ground, it comes up, your body should be beginning to uncoil and lift up towards contact, going down and up with the ball. Just as a corrective measure, I found this helped a lot of players in clinics to think of it that way and to get them moving in the right direction, right? So a good way to work on that is, from your ready position, you can do a selfie, you're gonna turn, you get to this position. Now, if I drop the ball right here, I'm gonna be late, right? So I have to make an adjustment. So from the ready position here, I turn, and now I adjust into the court. Now, I'm going to drop the ball and step down into the court. So I'm stepping into a neutral stance where my feet are parallel to the sideline. I don't want to close the stance, a big mistake a lot of players make, right? I want to step into a neutral stance, and we're stepping down, think of also sitting in the chair just to make sure you're engaging your legs. A lot of people step and they have straight legs. They're not going to help you, right? Okay, so ready position here, we turn, stop here, adjust, stop here. Now, as you drop the ball, down with the ball. See how I'm mimicking that? You want to do that over and over. You can add split step if you like. You turn, adjust, pause. Down with the falling ball. See how my body and racket go together, all right? Look at one more time in slow motion. All right. Now what we'll do is then we're going to move up with the ball, all right? The key is when you do these drills, you don't really want to stop here. You want to continue the momentum, all right? So ready over here, split, turn, adjust, down, then rotate up. Hold the finish there, okay? See that again. So ready, I split, I turn, adjust, pause, okay? And let's look at that in slow motion. Right, so once you've done your shadow swings, I then want you to do these self feeds. They're first. Then we're going to show you with a practice partner on how you can have them toss the ball underhand to you to try to practice this when the ball's coming towards you. Okay, so now progressing from the self feed, if you have a practice partner, then you want to have them give you an underhand feed. And the first progression, you're not going to hit the ball, you're just going to get into the slot position, but you're trying to mimic the falling ball with your body and racket. All right, so George's going to toss the ball, and find it, and I go down this position. I'm trying to get here on the bounce, or very close to that. See it again. And we'll toss a little bit wider there, George. Right, so once you're starting to get the hang of that, and you may want to film yourself just to make sure that you're doing that correctly or in sync. then you can start to hit the ball. But your goal is you're mimicking the ball on the way down, and then you're rotating upwards when the ball's coming up off the bounce. So George's going to toss the ball. Again, I'm going to try to hold the finish as well. Toss it a little bit higher, George. Yeah, there you go. So it gives you a little more time. Again, bounce. It'll be a little awkward at first, but that's a great way for you to think about it. Now remember, this is just a corrective measure, so there's some subtle differences in timing, but if you get to the ball early and you have the time, you want to think of mimicking the ball. So you going down with the falling ball and coming up with the falling ball, very close to that. So those are some great progressions. You could then progress it where it could be a ball machine feed or someone feeding from a basket, and eventually you would then implement that in a rally. But these are some great progressions to help you to not only find the ball out in front, but help you with the timing so that you're able to meet the ball out in front. All right, thank you for watching. I hope you got a lot out of this video. Make sure you go out there if you do have this issue and you work on the shadow swings, the self feeds, and then eventually work in a practice partner. The beauty of this, you can do a lot of things on your own at first. I do find it's really helpful, but you want to get the repetitions in. If you have any comments or questions or maybe things that you have used in the past to help you to get over this, please share them below. Hit the like button if you like this video, and please share it with your tennis friends. Thank you.
Right now, we have a special trial of our OTI Digital Coach available for you. It not only gives you access to all our video courses and modules, but you will also receive your own personalized video analysis from one of our OTI certified instructors. Simply send us a video of the stroke of your choice during your trial, and you will receive a voiceover video analysis with laser-focused feedback on how you can transform that stroke into a real weapon. Simply click the link inside or below this video for all the details.